Why hasn't Bo Nix been named quarterback number 1 yet? Sean Payton had a good answer when he sat down with Kay Adams yesterday following training camp, but he also might have just admitted that Bo Nix will be the starter in Seattle. Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for August 15th. Let's go.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel V. Hill.
After Nix dazzled against the Colts in the preseason opener, many are wondering what Sean Payton is waiting for. Just name the rookie quarterback your starter week 1. Broncos Country got a good answer from Payton on Wednesday, courtesy, of course, of the great Kay Adams. Take a listen.
It's a bit of the jig is up, though, Coach. It's like we know he's the guy. Why not hand him the keys like Chicago did with Caleb?
Still playing.
What do you mean?
They have one more
what
song.
What are you waiting for? So you're waiting to see what this next preseason game is?
This next game will be important.
Why does he have to earn it? What is the problem with just naming it? Like what?
I think it's important to the team that they see.
Right.
In other words, I'm not naming the starting cornerback between Riley and Mathis. Meaning, I'm not doing that with these other positions at receiver, and so it would be. It would be different if you just had made a decision with one position and I'm not ready to do it with all the positions. So, look, he's playing well. Now there are a few things in the game that we got to clean up, and I'm encouraged with how he's playing, just as I am with Stiddy and Zach. But I think there is a process to it, and we discussed this back in minicamp when we saw the Bears named Caleb their starter in the spring.
And no veteran. They didn't bring anybody in.
Yeah, and I understand that. But philosophically, we were going to be different, and we were just going to the timeline is just going to be different. But we're getting close. If you come back in the next week or two, I think it might time up.
With so much competition all over the field, it does kind of make sense that if you're not going to name starters at different positions, why would you name it at the QB? But at the exact same time, that's the leader of your team. And for guys to know exactly who that's going to be can be really beneficial, obviously. But it does make a little sense. So I'm going to give Sean Payton a bit of a pass on this one, but I cannot wait to see what's going to happen this weekend against the Packers as they come into town. Of course, tomorrow we have our Packers training camp joint practice, which will be really exciting. I also just saw that the Broncos will be wearing white tops with orange pants, so switching it up just a little bit. So great job by Kay Adams for getting Sean Payton to answer the question that essentially everybody has been wanting to find out. Let's get to your participation report because both Brandon Jones and Nick Bonito returned to action at Dove Valley, which is exciting. Jones has been out for a few weeks with a hamstring issue. The safety signed a 3-year deal to join the Denver Broncos in the spring. He's viewed as a replacement to a longtime team star at the spot, Justin Simmons. We might have some breaking news coming out with Justin Simmons here in just a little bit, but waiting for clarification on that. Jones played in all 54 games, all with Miami. And then Bonito, he's been out with 2 weeks with a back issue. The 2022 NFL Draft second rounder had 8 sacks in his sophomore season last fall. Bonito will see a lot of time on the outside linebacker position as they are rotating with Baron Browning and Jonathan Cooper as well. Lucas Kroll, who was having a great camp, went down on Sunday with a toe issue. He came out to the field with a helmet but did not practice. And Justin Trinad also returned to practice in the practice field, which is obviously good news over there. The bad news, Ben Powers went down on Wednesday after taking a hit to the back from Samaje Perine. So lots to update you guys all on when you look at training camp this week, but we'll see who's out there. I was seeing during the video, I was always checking to make sure what's happening out there at Broncos because it's obviously just started not too long ago. And it does look like Cortland Sutton was not out at practice today. I'm assuming it's just a bit of a veteran day. We'll have full clarification for that one. Of course, when Sean Payton takes the podium later this afternoon after practice. But yeah, just a little update for you guys. Like I said, though, we might have some breaking news when it comes to Justin Simmons. So stay tuned to the end of the show and we will get into that. All right, to the NBA we go because the Nuggets regular season schedule releases at 1 p.m. Mountain Time today. Buckle up, everybody. We're finally going to know what it's going to look like for this Denver Nuggets squad, but we technically already know 5 games. The Suns will host the Nuggets for a rematch of their legendary 2022 Christmas Day matchup. That's obviously down there on December 25th. But then you also have the first 4 games on the team's official schedule. This has officially come out. The Christmas Day one is just Shams coming out here saying, hey, I've heard this most likely going to happen. But so the first 4 games, New Orleans, Memphis, Dallas, and Golden State, this is all going to be a part of the NBA Cup. This comes against 3 teams that will likely make the playoffs again. But in case you don't remember what the NBA Cup is. It's essentially a FIFA-style cup that has all 30 NBA teams separated by conference and split up into 6 different groups for the first portions. Those pool play games will be on Tuesday and Friday nights. Do we all remember the crazy courts that we saw last year? It was all of those games. So you're going to see essentially a knockout round. And then it'll go to single elimination tournaments that will conclude in Las Vegas for the semifinals, which will be on December 14th, and then a championship game on December 17th. Don't put too much into this. The NBA Cup is essentially the NBA trying to say, hey, we're still around even before Christmas. Come watch the games, come hang out with us and all of that jazz. Because for a lot of people, the NBA season really doesn't start until those Christmas Day games. But also just some news because the Utah Jazz are adding veteran guard Patty Mills on a 1-year, $3.3 million deal. I did not realize Patty Mills has been in the league since 2009. So he has seen his time, that is for sure. And Mills spent last season with the Hawks and the Heat, averaging 13 minutes a game, but he had a strong showing representing Australia in the Paris Olympics just the past 2 weeks. He'll round out the bench behind starting guards Colin Sexton, Keontae George, Jordan Carlson, and then Isaiah Collier as well. So plenty of good stuff over there for the Utah Jazz. And Patty Mills continues his very, very long but successful career. To the MLB we go because Elias Diaz will be remembered as the first All-Star game in MVP in Colorado Rockies history. But a year later, essentially, he's getting the boot from the Colorado Rockies. It's kind of crazy to even think about this. The Rockies waived Diaz on Tuesday after slugging 14 home runs and 40 total extra base hits in 486 at-bats this year. He had 5 home runs as well. So essentially, if a team claims Diaz off of the waivers, the Rockies would save $1.4 million that they owe on the balance of his 2024 salary. But a major factor in this move, and essentially why a lot of people are going to have to unfortunately say goodbye to him, is they are looking at trying to get Drew Romo, who is in the AAA Albuquerque. So Colorado needs to move him to this 40-man roster, or they risk losing him to the Rule 5 draft of this offseason. So unfortunately, Elias Diaz, they have to say goodbye to bring in one of the young guns, and that is Drew Romo. Okay, this one's really exciting. So you guys, I hope you're pumped about this one because Simone Biles will be coming to Denver at Ball Arena next month. Freaking out, low key. Like, I need to get tickets. How is this going to happen? So Simone will be joined by some of the biggest stars from Team USA Gymnastics. She's obviously a 7-time gold Olympic medalist, 11-time medalist in the Olympics, and she just finished the Paris Games last week. You guys, I'm like way too excited about this. I'm like, okay, I need tickets immediately. In her 2024 competition, she took home medals in the teams competition, individual all-around vault and floor exercise, but she comes to Colorado on September 25th for the Gold Over America Tour, which essentially is a Team USA who will visit 30 arenas across the United States this fall. So I'm like, I need to get tickets. How am I going to do this? How can I get super close tickets that aren't going to cost me a fortune? Because I feel like everyone and their mother is going to go out to see Simone Biles. Just a really, really cool opportunity. But you can, in fact, purchase tickets for this performance at Ticketmaster.com. So be on the lookout for all of that because, again, just a really, really cool thing to see. Another one, which we don't talk a whole lot of UFC here on this channel, but I feel like you mentioned the name Conor McGregor and everyone's kind of like, all right, let's talk about Conor McGregor because there's always some sort of drama with him. Well, we might have to wait for his comeback until 2025, or will we? So on Tuesday, UFC President Dana White confirmed this week that McGregor, quote unquote, will not fight this year. But McGregor responded on X saying, Dana, December is the date. Bring the calendar year home with a winning event. Tell Dana and UFC we want December. McGregor has not fought in the octagon since 2021, and he was set to fight Michael Chandler at the UFC 303 in June, but had to drop out due to a broken toe. So I'm hoping in December we do, in fact, get a rematch of some sort with Conor McGregor getting back in the octagon, and we don't have to wait till 2025. But you never know with Conor McGregor. It feels like we're on a bit of a roller coaster with him for sure, but I always love seeing him. I think he adds so much drama, and I love when everybody we all get around our TV and we're like, all right, what is actually happening with Conor McGregor? He's just one of those names that people will always tune into. So it would be exciting to see him for sure. I want to get to a few of the comments here. Good morning, Rachel. Man, Kay Adams was to the point. That is one of Kay Adams' greatest first of all, she's a true pro in the business. It's insane what she's able to get out of coaches, players, GMs, all sorts of stuff. And it's the way she asks these questions. And, everybody in the media here in the Mile High City has wanted to be like, Sean, why not just name Bo Nix the starter? But she's able to get the answer out. She was pretty straightforward. She did a great job with it. So I was able to stick around just a little bit and watch some of her show yesterday. I talked about it on Coffee Break, so you can tune into that at 12 p.m. today. It was really cool to see the behind the scenes and be able to just kind of sit down and watch, Cortland Sutton, Pat Surtain, and all of those guys. And if you want to see the full show, I know you can also check it out on their YouTube channel, Up and Adams. Let's see. The best part of the interview was when Kay called Payton a jerk. That was hilarious. I agree. I feel like she could just kind of give him a little bit of sass like all the time, and he just takes it. So it's fun to see Sean Payton be, a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more chill, because sometimes when we get him at the podium, he can be a little like, kind of thing. So it is cool to see him kind of just in a different zone a little bit, I guess we could say. Somebody said, what's the rush? Why show all of our cards? The reason why I think it's really important for the Broncos to name Bo Nix their starter is you're getting more and more reps. Like the 3-man rotation that we're seeing is not allowing a lot of the guys to get the same exact reps. It's not allowing the offensive line to get used to Bo Nix cadence, or it's not allowing the receivers to get used to his looks and all sorts of stuff. So it's important, if you're going to try and go in week 1 with Seattle, that you actually do in fact have that. You are trying to narrow down all of those little mistakes that can be caused because you're seeing the chemistry out there with all of those guys. So that's why I think it's relatively important to have all of them go out there. But I do believe, and we'll find out today, of course, I'm not out there right now, but Sean Payton made it sound like Bo Nix was going to be with the ones all week, which again is just kind of showing your hand of like, here's our guy. But now we have no clue who's in the fights for like the backup. Is it going to be Jared Stidham? Is it going to be Zach Wilson? Who's actually going to make that? So we'll see. But good morning, Rachel. Good morning. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for just a little bit of time on a Thursday. Let's see. When do the Broncos need to start cutting players? I thought it usually started by now. No, you got a little bit of time before they have to start cutting everybody. You'll usually start seeing them go through. I mean, technically they did already cut, but they cut Caden Stearns. They said, you're not a part of our future. He obviously goes on, gets picked up by some other NFL teams. But really, I feel like after this weekend, you'll probably start to see a few more names get cut. But you still have a while until after the 3rd preseason game before you actually really have to start narrowing things down to that 53-man roster. The 3rd preseason game is the one where it's the 4-string guys who are really competing for a job to see who can possibly land on that 53-man roster. That's why this weekend against the Packers is really more important than it is against the Cardinals for, your starters, to see what your football team is actually going to look like. Now, in terms of like job security, game 3 against the Cardinals will be the most beneficial for that. All right. Let's see. I'm sure Stranad will be cut. Well, we'll see. I do feel bad for the guy, but I'm happy to see a lot of guys getting back out there again that are coming back from injury. Nick Benito's always a big one, so happy to see him as well. But I'm headed out to practice, you guys. It's going to be a hot one. I'm excited about it, though. They're in pads again today. Oh, also, let's just see real quick if we've gotten anything. So it's not official. It hasn't come from Adam Schefter or from Ian Rappaport, but it does sound like Justin Simmons will be finalizing a deal with the Atlanta Falcons. This doesn't come as a surprise for me. To be honest, we know he had a meeting earlier this week. We know that he had a dinner with some of the teammates down there. I think it would be a great move for Atlanta. Obviously, now with Kirk Cousins and all of that jazz, you're just adding a really solid player who will know his role as a veteran in the league. So I would be super excited for him. Again, not officially official, but still waiting to see that news drop from one of the bigger insiders. So Justin Simmons, who knows what could end up happening there. But if he finds a new NFL home, I would be so happy for both him and his family. But that is going to do it for today's episode of Denver Sports Daily. Like I said, coffee break, 12 p.m., talking about everything you need to know from yesterday's practice, who is still getting yelled at every single day, and which coach was yelling at somebody to get up over and over again. We'll have that answer for you 12 p.m. Plus, I give you a little behind-the-scenes access into Kay Adams' show, Up and Adams, as well. So I appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Denver Sports Daily. Bye, guys.